Michael Bain and welcome to Triggered, coming to you from Dragon House Studios at the secret hidden bunker in the Rocky Mountains. And if you recall, last month I went to a class in Wyoming on snubbies with Bryan Eastridge and Darryl Bolke. Now those two guys have become two of the most in-demand instructors in the entire country. And so what I wanted to do is give you a little bit more from those classes and maybe take some of the lessons that Bryan and Darryl were talking about and show them to you. First up, Bryan, on the Snubby trigger.
Shooting revolvers, and I'm like, that's kind of dumb. That doesn't work because that trigger's heavy and we don't have much leverage over it. So I like to bury my finger about as far as I can get it in there without compromising the back of the gun being in the web of my hand here. So I can get the maximum amount of leverage. And at some point today, you'll hear me say, put more finger on the trigger, and you'll do this, and I'll go, no, more. Like, get as much as you can in there to manipulate it, okay? So we want to have the maximum amount of leverage. I mean, you can see my fingers hanging off the other side of the gun, which is why I can't shoot thumb over thumbnail. But if we do that, we get a ton of leverage over those little small triggers, right? When you're rolling the trigger, I describe it as a roll. And a roll like you're paddling a canoe. Anybody here ever paddled a canoe or a boat? What happens if you slap the paddle into the water and start trying to pull it? You do this. So from the contact point on the trigger, and we'll work through this in the marksmanship workup, we're going to roll it like we're rowing a boat. How do we return the paddle when we want to take another stroke? We get it out of the water fast, and then we smoothly pull it to the rear. I was taught in the old police academy style teaching, we hold it to the rear, we realign the sights, and then we slowly return the trigger to to a reset, but we stay in contact with it. And I subscribe to guns gone off, and I might need to shoot again. I need to get off of it as fast as I can and be ready to roll it again. So for me, as soon as the shot breaks and I kind of assess the sights are coming off the target, my finger flicks forward until I touch the front of the trigger guard. And then I take the discipline to touch the trigger and start rolling again. Make sense?
When we come back, DB is at bat, and it's the mechanics of the pocket draw. Welcome back to Triggered. In all honesty, the pocket draw, that is carrying a gun in your pocket, is probably the most popular form of concealed carry in the United States. But how do you get that gun out of the pocket? Well, Darryl Bolke can show you everything you need to know.
What's normally going to happen is I'll be accessed on the gun. I'm fairly submissive. Hey, don't hurt me. I'll give you, this is this type of thing. I've accessed the gun, I've accessed the grip. I'm doing here, that's the shot right there. That is a straight up sub-second draw for real, from totally relaxed. I want to show you though, now that's a 22, does it matter?
Nope, not if that dude.
No, so again, watch my shoulders when I start the draw process. Shoulders don't move. Does that make sense? I'm not dipping the shoulders. The crooks will pick that up. Anybody who's worked in law enforcement, we have sort of some cues that people are going to go off. One of them is going to be the shoulder dip to a draw. So what I want to do is that real relaxed thing, and I'm literally just punching the gun into the target. Am I using my sights? Yes, I am. Wholeheartedly using my sights. What I am looking for, and it's why I like these excess sights, is I am coming up and streaking that. As soon as I see the sight is where the shot's coming. So I'm using the sight as that enters my vision. I'm actually using a rough flash front sight picture. This is like straight up modern technique in that the sight is the guide, okay? I forgot I only put 4 in there. So the reality of that is we're just looking for that. And that, you know, what's funny is, like I said, these pants are kind of tough on this. If I got my big, normal, gigantic cargos, this is even faster. But is that a realistic, how are you going to counter that? You know, somebody may throw a hand up or something. You're just punching straight through it. Reaction versus action on this kind of level of speed, they're going to be a bit behind the curve. Okay, so that's all we're looking for. You guys will be at 3 yards, and we're looking for body. Okay, because I just don't want to blow the heck up out of it. If that was my 351C where I'm shooting 22 mag, you know, it's kind of ugly. Okay, so it's 22 punch. Okay. You know, nobody likes getting shot in the face. That is, if you want to change somebody's channel, blow something into their, you know, and even the muzzle blast at that distance with eyes, everything else. And I usually tell people, if it goes in here, is that a fatal shot? And if you shoot them in the mouth, I don't care who you are. When somebody shoves a gun through your teeth and pulls the trigger with it in your mouth, it is not going to be a pleasant situation. A big mindset change on this from the law enforcement guys to citizens. Do I need to put handcuffs on it? Do I need to arrest it? Do I need to do medical aid? Do I need to do anything? All I want this to do is leave. You know, the goal may not, now, if I can find something, if I can pick what I want to hit, and preferably it's going to be an eye orbital. If I can go that green sight and drive that into an orbital, perfect. If I get a mouth, a tooth, a nose, between the thing, I'm looking for something to hit and driving that sight into it. And as soon as the end of my arm stops, it's the trigger press, but I'm using that sight as a reference, okay? This is sort of the deep end of this, but again, for most times of when you're going to find street level crime, that's what you're dealing with at that distance. I got to feign some of that, you know, submissiveness to the situation because I don't want them expecting it. Now, there's been times I've been ponied up on a guy, half on a draw, and a can of pepper in my hand. Little different situation. They know what's coming. But I've already, you know, done that. If somebody has gotten inside of me, you're going to need to go full submission to let them think you are going to get them paid. That's all they care about is getting paid. You change their channel, great, go away. Or I'll go away, but this gives me the opportunity to go away.
We've got more from DB and Bryan with a wise Snubby class in Wyoming when Triggered returns. This week's Triggered is brought to you by Hunter's HD Gold. They change so you don't have to. MTM Case Guard. Quality shooting sports accessories. Luth AR. Are you ready? Genuine US-made AR parts. And America's Rifle Challenge, the National Rifle Association's newest AR-based sport. We've all heard about the concept of follow-through on a trigger pull. But Bryan and Darryl have a little bit of a different explanation on that. Let's take a look.
Trigger. Recoil shield's in the web of my hand. Roll, 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 break, off. Roll, 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 break, off. So I'm rolling through it without moving the gun. As soon as it breaks, I get off of it and I get ready to do it again. And we'll go through a series of exercises to kind of get you into that procedure of working the trigger. We already went over breath control. Follow through. What is follow through? Because I've heard it, well, we hold the trigger to the rear and then we realign the sights and then we get ready to shoot again. I heard that was follow through. That was the definition given to me. Anybody? Go ahead.
Well, to me, follow through is get the next sight picture. That's
So Darryl and I teaching this, he saw me pitch this like 2 years ago, and I see him over there going, recover the gun. Recover the gun by realigning the sights and being ready to shoot again when it's recovered. There's also another thing we do there. So we reassess. This is the assessment phase as well. Is what I'm shooting at still there? Does it need to get shot again? If it doesn't need to get shot again, my finger comes off the trigger and I return the gun to a ready position. So follow through for me has nothing to do with on a semi-auto feeling and hearing an audible click or a tactile click or any of that. It's, I see the sights lift, I get the trigger ready to go again. I start that process. I'm assessing, is that still there? Does it need to be shot again? Am I ready to shoot it again when the sights are back?
If you carry a Snubby as a primary or even a secondary weapon, this is information that you need to know, and you need to know how to practice with that Snubby. Interestingly enough, this morning on the internet, I read a long article on snubs, and a lot of the information was from this class, from those two instructors, unattributed. If you have any doubt, go with the source. I'm Michael Bain. This is Triggered. You can find us on michaelbain.tv, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Rumble, on X. We'll see you next week.